All right, folks, welcome to another episode of Till the Dirt. This is the Shahs of Rewatch, uh, where we do the Shahs of Rewatch. This is the Shahs of Sunset, where we do a rewatch of some of the older episodes that I've never saw before. And we do them usually with the Dirty, and we're doing them today with this very special Dirty. Lisa, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Lisa. I work at Dermabeauty Med Spa, so that's how I met Tommy. He does our podcast, he films, and then talking with him, we realized, I watch all the shows, so I'm
Yeah, I
obsessed.
came to find out she's a nut. Came to
Yeah, yeah,
find out she's a big
yeah,
loon. She loves the Shahs. How many
all
times
of
would
it,
you say you've watched the Shahs? How many times would you think?
all
Once,
of them.
twice?
Probably three times, maybe four.
That's
Yeah,
great. That's great. I love it when we bump into someone who's an actual lunatic, and
yes,
you fit the bill.
yeah.
Without wasting too much time, without further ado, we could jump into this episode. And right away, my wife, make me very proud as a husband, where
Yes.
she's going to find out all her sex tapes. This is prior to me meeting her, so I don't know what she was doing without me. But yeah, I thought that it was funny that she has that much content on her computer.
Well, she said she wanted it for to keep record, right, of how she looked at the time.
You know, posterity purposes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like a time capsule of
Yeah.
porn.
Yeah. Don't blame her.
Yeah.
Don't
And
blame her.
the
The
guy
guy was
Chris,
definite. He was definitely watching them though in the
yeah,
back
the guy
for
Chris was
sure.
definitely rubbing
He was,
one
yeah,
out, dude. He was gone
yeah,
for a
yeah,
minute. He definitely rubbed a few back, came in a few knuckle children, and he came back finally. But that's just like it wasn't a main po A lot of times when you see something in the beginning of an episode, it's going to be like a through line through the episode. That was
yeah.
just kind of a one-off funny thing for them to do. Um, then we see Mike go and meet these other guys. These guys definitely got the memo that they were going to be filming, dude. I don't know if that office was real or if they just rented it that
Okay,
day. The
yeah.
fucking one guy got the glasses on. Like, what are we doing, dude? You got
I
the two fake assistants walking
assistants,
around.
yeah.
I think they were just writing their names in the book.
I noticed that too, and I was just like, "Is this even a real business?" Like, it just seemed fake. They rented out that space for it. I don't know who the girls were, what they were doodling, but yeah, no.
Yeah, and that's the type of business, calling a spade, where you probably don't even need the office space. You know what I
No,
mean? You can probably
no.
do a lot of that at home or whatever. But I think that they were there for the pageantry. They definitely, even going back to the episode, how did you watch any episodes leading up to this?
I did. Yeah, I prepared.
Okay, look at
I've
you.
watched I've watched them, but I wanted it to be fresh in my mind
Oh no, I
again.
got
So
like studying
yeah.
for exam. I get it. I
Yes.
get it. This is we got to prioritize. This is important stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, that last episode, I could tell that, you know, I mean, when you do this for a little bit or you're around it in the
Mm.
vicinity and you could kind of spot the people that fucking love the camera, you
Oh, I'm
know?
sure. I'm sure you run into it all the time after all this, but yeah, you could
Yeah,
tell.
those guys loved like they loved the camera. They were all for it. They wanted to look great on TV. And it looks like Mike's switching another career. Good for Mike. Good for Mike.
Well, this is the thing. It's just like, what does he actually do? He's always switching around. Like, how is he paying his bills? Is he actually making money?
Well, I'm sure the show is paying
Well,
him.
yeah, but they're
The
not paying that much, are they?
This is season three, so I'm not saying that they're paying that much, but I think he's
Yeah.
making a living. I definitely think he's
Okay.
making a living right now, and you got to also remember this is kind of infancy stages of Instagram a little bit too, so I'm sure he's
That's
probably
true.
got a brand deal here or there,
Sponsored, yeah.
stuff like that. Um, so I don't think he's starving, but I definitely think he's starving to be living like these other people.
Oh, yeah.
And
You can tell.
he wants the shortcut. You know
You
what I
could tell.
mean? Like he just
Hmm.
wants to be living like them. He doesn't really care what they do and how they do it in order to make that money.
Hmm.
He just wants the money. And he assumes that having the show will be a good shortcut for him to get any of these opportunities.
Yeah.
Which I get these guys wouldn't be talking to Mike like this if there was no show involved. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
So it definitely opens doors, but at the same point in time, I feel like for someone like Mike, it also hinders you too, because you don't work. You know what I mean?
No.
You think that the show's enough, and
Yeah.
it's not.
No, it's not. And you don't see him actually in the office ever doing anything with anybody. No.
No, no. It's like
Ever.
it's like let's do a photo shoot. Let's do a
He
photo,
wanted the bus, his
yeah,
picture on
like
the
he'll
bus
do a
and all this
photo
stuff.
op real quick, but actually, rubber meets the road doing work, he doesn't seem like the type.
No.
Then we go to Austin's Diamond Water, which is I just, I can't. Have you ever drank any Diamond Water? It's been out
No.
here, so no, never
No, I
bumped
have
into it.
not. No.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't either. I haven't drinking any sewer water either, or toilet water, or any of the other types of water that I think this is on par with. Um,
But it's just all the money spent for that specific bottle shape and like all this stuff that she wanted is just so much money going out in this.
yeah, yeah. I mean, listen, the party, she didn't pay for the fucking party.
Okay.
That's all production.
Because
Production
it was
paid.
a lot. Yeah.
Even case in point, like just this, give you an example of what I mean. No, I mean, you saw it, so I doubt you're going to go watch it again. But there's a spot in there where they show you the DJ. They show you the
Oh, yeah.
DJ. They show you his name, DJ Sultan, I think was his name.
Hmm.
That's a trade out. That means that I'll do your party, but I want to, you got to get me on screen and you have to get my
Market
name
me.
there too. That's
Yeah.
a trade out. That's how that works. It's the same thing with a lot of these flower places or a lot of, so it's not necessarily where the show pays, but they do a trade for it. Like I'll get
Makes
you on,
sense.
so it gives you a lot of bargaining power as a producer. Because again, these shows live on to perpetuity. DJ Sultan might not even be a DJ anymore. You know what
I
I mean?
know.
That's 12
Yeah.
years ago, but he's still out there. We're still watching it. I just saw him. So for certain
Yeah.
businesses, it's really worth it. Um, but she's not footing the bill for that. She definitely paid for Diamond Water though, but I
Yeah.
don't think she did physically. I think she had some investors.
I
Uh,
think so too. Yeah.
yeah, and I just think it was a terrible idea. Um, especially let's call a spade, right? You're doing this with the idea that I'm going to get it on television. And if I get it on television, that's going to, just
Blow it up.
absolutely, right?
Hmm.
Which is always the wrong idea, like we just talked about. You have to have a passion about what it is that you're doing.
I agree.
Otherwise, it's just not going to withstand itself when the days aren't good,
Yeah.
right? And you're not making the money. If you don't really have a core belief in your heart to do it, then you're going to be the first one to be like, this isn't working. Let me find the next thing that I could
Hmm.
put on TV that will blow up that also won't work because your heart's not in that either. You know what I
Well, it's
mean?
kind of like what Mike does
Exactly, and but
in
it's
future
Asa too.
episodes.
It's Asa
Yeah.
to a T.
No.
Asa from the first. She was a singer. No one could bought any of her albums. Now I'm making the Diamond Water. Next fucking year, it's something. It's the art, I
The
think.
artist.
Yeah,
Yeah.
whatever. So, but it's her and Mike, both of them.
And the
You're right.
caftan. She did the caftan thing too later on.
Yes,
So yeah.
yes. Well, that's the thing that worked. That's the thing that worked. Again, there was enough people outside the show that would buy it that she can now, she had a shop on Venice or on
Oh,
Abercrombie
okay.
in Venice. She just closed it down. She moved everything online. But that's, whatever. That's just because retail's dead in a lot of
Well, you
ways.
can't
Which,
blame her on that
yeah,
nowadays.
yeah,
Yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
yeah. But I mean, it's the same thing. She doesn't give two shits about this water, dude. Like, oh, my
No.
grandmother, shut up. You know, it's like she got
I
on
saw that with the
TV.
flowers and the diamonds and like such a
Yeah,
cute.
man. I'll tell you where she also fucked up. It's not, well, again, they're kind of new in the sense that, I go over this a lot, and I know you listen to some of the episodes. The
Oh yeah,
Shahs were
definitely.
pioneers in a lot of ways for reality television, especially in this type of setting. I know there were a few housewife shows, but
Yeah.
you look at Bethany, and Bethany took off with
Skinny girl.
Skinny Girl, and then
Hmm.
the other guy got Lover Boy. My wife and I have Pete
Oh
Evan. I
yeah.
just feel like the demographic you're speaking to doesn't give two shits about your bottled water, dude. They
Not
want to
water.
fucking drink
No.
vodka. They
They
want
want
to drink
alcohol.
rosé. Yes, it's
Yes.
monkey. That's who the Bravo audience is not like they're not looking to pay a lot of money for your fancy water. But if you have a
No.
good rosé, they'll fucking try it. Let's
Well,
try
even
it.
even at the party, she has to mix it with vodka to serve it to
Exactly,
everybody.
exactly.
So
That's
yeah.
what actually gave me the idea of what I just said. I'm looking at it, I'm like, you don't have the wrong thing when your thing needs something else. You know what
Yes.
I'm saying? Like if it's
Yeah.
just water, nobody want to fucking just sit there at a cocktail party and just drink water. They want the cocktail, dude. So I just think it was the wrong idea. And if she made the right decision there, she really could have been onto something because, like I said, it couldn't have been no more than a year later if it wasn't right at the same time that Bethany was blowing up with the skinny girl.
Yeah. And
You know,
like in that reality world too, everybody drinks. That's just
for
what it is.
sure.
So you need to get some sort of alcohol line so that they can always market it on each show.
And it's also organically fits into whatever it is that you're doing.
Yes,
Whereas
you're not forcing it.
if
Yeah.
you came over to shoot a scene with me to talk about how my wife is being bitchy or I'm being an asshole and she came to you and now you're there to talk to me about it, we easily drinks come in and out of that
For
scene
sure.
without totally organically. You know what I mean? Now, without you
Yeah.
having to hold up the bottle and let's try some of my vodka. You don't have to do it. It's just organic. Where
It's
the
sitting on the
water,
counter, you're
yeah, the
drinking. Yeah.
water is
Hmm.
forced. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like the water, especially the way how big it is and the diamond, it's just like it wouldn't be natural to
No.
like come in and then I get go get you a bottle of water. I mean, it just wouldn't work the same. So I
Yeah.
think that was but hindsight's definitely 2020.
It was a
Uh,
miss, but she spent a lot of money on it.
yeah, wasted, wasted. I think that's the word
Wasted
you
money.
use.
Yeah.
I think that's the word you use. Because
Yeah.
again, to me, it's a waste if you know from jump that you're just not passionate about it. Like we
Yeah.
talk about with Aaron, not to get, have bridges collide, but Aaron
Cross. Yeah.
cares very much about what he does
He does.
at the med spa and helping and people and making a positive impact. And that resonates. That will make you last a long time in business. But when
Well,
you're
people
just
can
trying to
tell.
yeah,
People can tell if you're
absolutely.
sincere or not. You exude that. It's the way you talk about it, your passion. People can tell if it's fake.
And you
Yeah.
hit the fucking nail on the head, Lisa, because
Yeah.
that's exactly how, if you read or whatever, that's exactly how people took Diamond Water. That
Yeah.
she really didn't give a shit. She was just trying to sell us some water. I don't care if you're the biggest Asa fan there is. You never believed it was about her grandmother.
No.
You know what I mean? It just no one ever bought it. So I
No.
think that kind of shows through. Then we
Definitely.
go MJ, and Layla.
Hmm.
Um,
House hunting.
that's they Layla, like Layla from front. If you would definitely seem like she's the better sister or has had the rougher
Yeah.
road. The Gigi's got more. Everything's
She's
been made.
babied more.
Yeah, which
Gigi's babied
is
more.
true.
Yeah.
But they're both spoiled brats. You can see it in this fucking scene too. Like Layla knows that she's getting a rise out of her sister by being with my wife.
Yeah.
My wife knows that this is getting a rise out of Gigi by her because Gigi doesn't want Layla to film at all. This is her
Oh,
show.
really?
Yeah, this is her show. This is her thing. She doesn't really want Layla involved. I'm not talking about things going forward or whatever. I'm talking about in this moment or when I
Yeah.
was around. That was like an always a thing that was known that like Gigi don't want Layla filming.
She was jealous of that. Yeah. It was hers.
Yeah, this is my
Yeah.
thing and whatever. And, Layla also knows how to push Gigi's buttons, you
Oh, she
know?
does. She
Yeah.
does for
Like if we
sure.
were standing in a room together, like let's just say there was 5 or 6 of us, she knows the thing without really saying a word or just like how to push a button to make Gigi really go ape shit where she could kind of sit back and be like, oh, look, Gigi's going crazy again.
Yeah.
So I mean, I love Layla. Layla's a friend of mine. My wife hangs out with Layla all the time. I'll tell Layla to her face, same as I'm telling you now. I never realized she's sneaky too, dude.
She
This
knows
isn't
what she's
all.
doing. Yeah.
Yeah,
She's
it's not
smart.
all
She's smart.
Gigi. It's not all Gigi. And for the longest time, I thought it was always all Gigi, and it's definitely not. It's definitely
Yeah.
not.
Yeah. Well, they're sisters. They know each other in and out, so they know what buttons to push for
Truth,
sure. Yeah.
truth, truth.
Yeah.
And
But
then
I
we go.
did think she was very high maintenance in some of the
Yes,
things. Like
yes.
you're looking for
Layla's
a
high
house.
maintenance
Yeah.
too. Yes, yes, yes. Very
Yeah.
much so. Very
Yeah.
much so.
And
And
MJ's
she,
just trying
but
to
she
find
would
her a
make you
house.
think that she isn't. You know what I mean? Like I'm not. It's like, no, bitch, you are
Yeah.
too. You know?
You are. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Then we go to Jessica and Mike.
Uh, yeah.
this girl's putting the full court pressure on for a ring,
Okay.
dude. Seriously.
She was going in so hard. And I don't know if this is a popular, unpopular opinion. I don't really care for her. I feel like she went so hard and did everything for him for what? She didn't even have a ring yet. She's like literally changing her whole life, morphing into his family, which obviously you do when you're in a relationship, but still he wasn't giving her, I feel like, enough for her to give that much effort.
I I completely agree with the last thing you just said. Like there was not enough coming from Mike
Yeah.
that
Yes,
she should
yes,
be
yes.
going to do all the, when they do the prayer, he looks like he doesn't even know the prayer. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
She was
yeah.
she put in the work. She was on it. She studied everything. She did this and that. So
Yeah,
I don't
and
know.
there's a couple of misconceptions too. It's not even a misconception, it's my own misconception. I was always under the impression that with the things that I've read, things that I've heard, or, other chit chat that you might hear in other places, that she was always trying to prove herself to Mike's mother. For whatever reason, Mike's mother wasn't, welcoming, or Mike's mother was not nice. I have not seen that at all in the show.
No, I think his
Any,
mom seems very nice.
Mike's
Yeah.
mom seems like she's been very nice,
Yeah, for
very
sure.
inviting. I don't think she's ever once mentioned anything like about her not being Persian, about her not being Jewish, or how
No.
any of that has mattered. Mike said that. Mike has definitely said it, but I think that Mike is just like you said. I think he's trying to make things impossible because
He's
the last
making
thing
an
he's looking to
excuse.
do is propose, right? So
Yeah.
it's like, you're not Persian, you're not Jewish, you're not this, you're not that. So she keeps going it. All right, I got that done. Now I'm making Persian food. But
Yeah.
I don't think it's ever anything he wants.
No, I don't think it is either. And I think he keeps throwing up these roadblocks, and she does keep trying over and over and over again. And the reason I said I maybe don't care for her as much, I think, is just I know this is later on, but I feel like once they got engaged, her whole attitude changed. And I feel like she got very
I haven't seen
snotty,
that
and
yet.
that's why. Okay,
Okay, I
sorry.
haven't seen any of that yet. And you
Yeah.
want to know something without, because again, everybody has certain gifts in life. One of my gifts I feel like is I'm pretty good read on people. Not
Hmm.
saying I'm always right, but I have a pretty good sense of how someone is, and it doesn't take me long to kind of figure them out. And I can see what you just said without knowing what's coming, just
Yeah.
because of how hard she's trying to get this ring.
She,
Once she gets the ring, we're going to see a different side of Jessica.
you're going to see it.
I've
Yeah.
been walking on this earth too long to know that a girl who's fighting that hard to get something is not showing you exactly who the fuck they are. Same thing with the
She,
guy, right? If you know what I mean?
exactly.
If
No,
there's
when,
like he's trying to get laid, right? That guy's trying to get laid, and all of a sudden he gets laid. He stops calling and stops. We're not texting all night anymore. What happened? Things change, right?
yeah.
I think it's the same thing with her. I guarantee, without you telling me, that all of a sudden she's going to have a problem with this friend and that friend and the other friend that she's not saying anything about now because,
Yeah.
and I thought it was a little sad though with the interaction with the dad and her because. Again,
Oh,
hindsight now, that they're divorced. There's no relationship. He's talking about
yeah.
like that's his daughter, and
The
that's
dad
a
is
sad thing.
very sweet. I thought that
No,
was very sweet.
was a
Yeah.
very it was a very sweet thing, and
Yeah.
it looked very genuine,
Yes, I agree.
and unlike Vita, because Vita, as they say, she she knows what she's doing. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? Like she knows what the what the people are looking for, right? So
Yes,
she
I could
knows
see
she's
that.
very much better on camera. That's why she gets invited to the reunions, and she does it because she knows what's up. She knows,
She
like,
knows how to navigate it and what to
yeah,
say. Yeah.
yeah. With Mike's dad or most of the other parents that are involved, I feel like are
Yeah.
just themselves because
Yes.
they're not, they're not as good as their kids are. Their kids are this is their job, right?
Hmm.
So I really took that as genuine from Mike's dad, and it was just sad because again, to have that type of relationship and then know that Mike fucked it up. Like she didn't do anything wrong. Mike
Yeah.
fucked it up, and now that chick is not in his life anymore. I think that's a little sad.
And they appreciated all the effort she put in on everything. And you could see
Yes.
that. And it is sad. Yeah.
Yeah, no, Mike's mom said it. She was right. She said that, she did a lot here, and I hope that Mike appreciates it
Yeah.
because she knows she does it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She
And that's
knows.
a lot of work. She put in a
Yeah.
lot of work in all
Again,
aspects.
I blow up from time to time on this pod about it. I think I did last week too, which it actually hasn't come out yet. It should be out in the next day or two. The
Oh,
one that I did last week. This will come out, to down probably next week.
oh, okay, yeah.
Whatever. But um she when I went to Asa's house for the first time, that dinner that they made me, she didn't make it. She ordered that out. And I kept like, oh
Oh,
man, what the like I felt like a dick that I kept thanking her for it. Jessica made this meal.
she did, yeah.
She made this meal from scratch. She did all the work. Like I know from knowing that she did all that. So that was nice of her, man. She put herself out there too. But again, it's not like I want to be like, oh, really, feel bad for Jessica, but I don't so much because she has her own intentions.
She
You know
does,
what I
yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
She wants this ring and shit. Like I don't know if she's doing the same shit if they're married 2 years in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know.
And like you said, you can tell that in people. So you're already seeing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that, with Mike, you got to know what you're getting yourself into to a certain extent. You know what I mean?
She knew
No,
who he was when they started dating too. So
yeah,
the whole
yeah,
cheating stuff and what all the stuff he does, she knew who he was.
I would think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then we see Gigi and Cheyenne or Shia, whatever his name
I
was.
think yeah, I was Cheyenne.
He was dumb as a
Um
box of rocks too. This guy,
he was so funny.
she does not go. At least I don't know where she picks these guys up from. They're getting off the short bus on the way off to school.
I
I mean, he's
guess.
attractive, sure, okay, but
But he looked so different to me from the birthday party to this dinner.
yeah,
I think
yeah,
because
he
his
really
hair,
did. The
he looked
hair, I
like a
guess the
different
hair.
person.
He really
Yeah.
did. He looked like a different dude. He looked older at the birthday. Tonight, he
Yeah.
looked like he was, Jersey Shore,
Yes.
back in the
Yes.
day when it first came on, looking to rage.
Hmm.
And she's telling him she's mixed signals, Gigi. She talks like crazy. Like I don't think she connects from like one sentence to the next. Like she's talking about wanting to get married and have a husband and have kids, but she
Kids.
three dudes around
Yeah.
all the time. That's two totally that's two totally different mindsets. I'm not even
Hmm.
talking about it from a man. I'm saying from her. Like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, I want to be married, I want a kid, but I got three guys around. You're not your subconscious doesn't even know what the fuck to think, dude. You know what I mean? Because
She's
it's
all
like,
over the place. But too,
yeah.
like you can't be with one person. She was like with the other guy she was with, and then she gets mad at MJ for telling him, but you were the one
What's
making
the
out with
next
somebody else.
It's the next
Like that's
fucking thing I have written down here. It's so
yes,
crazy. It's
yes.
so crazy. She literally said, I don't even like, basically, in not so many words, I don't really even like this guy. He's stupid as all hell. He's younger than me, but I'm going to bring him because I know it's going to piss MJ off to see him with me. But
Written
then
down
she gets
too, like
fucking mad that my wife brings
exactly.
Layla because, like, she's like, you just trying to make me mad? It's
Yeah.
fucking so crazy, these people.
I have
They're
that written
so
down
fucking
too. Like, why
crazy.
does she want to make your MJ so jealous? Like, why?
I I think that I think that once you get on these types of shows, it's natural, right? To
Yeah.
want
A
to
little
have
jealous.
drama, but I think it's also who's the top dog,
Yeah.
right? Like Reza, Reza's um the type A personality to lead the
Mm.
show, right?
Healy, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so he took. It was supposed to be Sammy. Sammy couldn't take it. Sammy wasn't good at that. Reza took it and ran with it,
Yeah.
and he's the alpha on the show. But then who's the queen bee of the show, so to speak? I think we already could tell it's not going to be Lily.
No.
She just doesn't interact with them. And I'm not. I think this is her last season, and
I
I would
think so
not.
too, yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
she
like
doesn't bring anything to it either.
no.
It's
And when
very
she
surface level. She doesn't talk, it's not anything personal.
and she acts like she's better than everybody.
She does 100%. And I think your wife said that later, in this episode. But yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I
she
think
acts
these
like
other
she's better than
people have
everybody.
already get, like you said, it's not just surface level shit. So I think that all the girls are kind of in competition for that spot, and I think Lily there's nothing there. Like you said, it's completely surface level
Nothing.
shit. And I think the other people have kind of realized that. And like I said, I, you know, it's one thing if you think you're better than everyone, but it's another thing if you think you're better than everyone and then you don't really give any all you're giving a surface level shit. There's really no
Exactly.
reason to have you around. So
She
I'm
doesn't
not.
even have true friendships on there. If
No.
you notice, everybody like works for her.
Yes, or like Reza said, I haven't spoken to Leila and Mike.
Yes,
That
yes,
should never be while you're filming. These are your coworkers. So
yes,
even if you don't like a certain, I'm not talking about disdain. I can't be in the same room with someone. I'm saying you definitely have worked in places where you don't really like someone that much. You know what I
yeah,
mean? But you work with them because it's part of your job.
yeah.
So
You have to keep that relationship going.
yeah, and because of the
Be
job
cordial.
requirements of this, you kind of have to stay in contact, be social, whatever. Like, let's just go out for a drink from time, just so that we know what's going on in each other's lives, so that when
Yeah,
the cameras are on, we don't seem like, oh, really? I didn't know that your husband died of cancer. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's you need to be knowing what's going on with people's lives, but
yes,
you could tell. There's no interaction with her, and I think she's fine with it. I think the cast is fine with it. I think Asa never really wants to show her. She wants to be a top dog. She definitely
I
does,
could. Yeah,
but
I
she's
agree.
aligned herself with Reza. She doesn't want to be on Reza's bad side. She wants to
Yes,
be like Reza's, like an equal. And, I support you as long as you continue to support my bullshit ventures that I'm hoping will eventually get me paid
hmm,
enough that I could leave the show because I don't really want to do this.
yeah. I don't
That's
think she
that's
really
the
wants to.
impression I always have of Asa.
Yes,
Where Gigi and my sister are both on the show. They're not fucking going anywhere. Reza's known my wife for, whatever. But there's a level there where they could flip on each other on a dime. So I
yeah,
think Gigi sees that part too, and Gigi just doesn't want to be left out. So there's a rivalry. I mean, you said it yourself, like with the sisters. She has a rivalry with other women around her, and I think my wife does too.
yeah. And Gigi definitely has a rivalry now because her and MJ were so close, and then while her and Reza weren't friends, and then I mean, she said it too. I was there for her, and now we're not close anymore, or as close anymore.
Once a week or every time I do this, someone always says something that is so fucking true, and you just hit the nail.
Mhm.
Like at the end of the day, Gigi's still a very young person in a lot of ways, and I think that she feels very hurt that she was besties with my wife for a
Yeah,
period of time where my wife and Reza were not on good terms, and then the second that my wife and Reza got on good terms again, it felt like Gigi felt like my wife kicked her to the curb.
yeah, pushed aside.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and there was definitely an element of that where I could see why she felt that way, but now I think it's also just a refusal of persons to take accountability for fucking anything. So, like Asa said it later, she says a little problem turns into a big
it
problem.
does.
It's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that's
for
every
sure.
fucking person thing ever. When she's talking about Mike and Reza, it's the same shit with all of them.
Yeah,
Um, Now, uh, Gigi and Layla, like I said, they're both spoiled brats. They both have their own beef. I don't know where a lot of that comes from. I mean, Gigi makes it seem like her sister was evil, like she would tie her up and beat her. Has anyone ever, Gigi doesn't strike me as weak,
no,
She
not at
doesn't strike
all.
me as someone who's allowed to be bullied by
No,
Layla, too. It's not like, so, but they do have a very, very, very weird,
dynamic for
yeah, they've
sure.
always had since I'm in the picture.
You see
Uh,
it throughout too. It's just like on, off constantly with
that's a
them.
real thing. Some of
Yeah,
the shit is bullshit. These shows, that's real. Gigi, like you said earlier, Gigi's saying that Mike is trying to piss her off on. Or Gigi is saying MJ's trying to piss her off on purpose
yeah.
for bringing Layla after she said she was trying to make my wife jealous. But like, what the fuck did I just like? I can't
I
believe
know
I can't believe no one's like, did you hear what you just said? You know what I mean? It's
they're
so
delusional in
crazy
their
to
head.
me. It's so crazy. I thought that my wife making fun of Lily was great. Um, she's when she's doing her Lily
Oh my gosh, I
impersonation.
have this written down too. I was like, her roasting them was so funny
It,
with Lily
it really was. It
and
really
Gigi's date. I thought
Yeah,
that was so
yeah,
cute.
yeah, yeah. She
She's like,
gave
"Are
it
you
to
in
him.
school? Do you need a napkin?" Like it was so funny, every
She
little
was
thing.
good. My wife gave it to him pretty
She's so
good.
funny.
And
Yeah.
again, like my wife does not to this day. I think you've heard. My wife does not like Lily at all. Like
Yeah.
if they saw each other, they would cross the street. Like I don't have that problem with Lily. Like I just
Okay.
feel like I've never met her. I don't know her. I'm just going off of the show. She just shouldn't be on the show. She doesn't
No,
have
I don't think
anything
she
to
was a
fuck.
good fit.
Yeah, whoever cast her it was a terrible idea. She doesn't drink. She's fucking doesn't know any of these people for any time. There's enough people. My wife and I went to uh Nowruz part. I don't know how to pronounce it. The Persian New Year was
Oh,
last night.
yeah, yeah. I saw her post
Yeah, you
actually
saw a little
earlier.
guy
Yeah.
was jumping the fire. So
Yes,
we
he did
went
so
last
good.
night to that, and there were like three different people there. Oh, I went to high school with your sister. I mean, with your wife. I know her 20. There were enough people in LA to find to be on the show that you didn't have to go get Lily, who was from Houston, that didn't know any of these people. And it's a different type of Persian too. I don't know.
Yeah,
It was a bad job of casting, in my opinion. And
I
she
agree.
never,
She never
um,
fit in from the beginning. And the
from the
whole
beginning,
drinking thing too. It's just like, this group of people, they drink. They're gonna go out, they're gonna do this. And to have the one person that doesn't drink, it's gonna look judgmental.
for
She
sure.
does look like she looks down on everybody.
And Reza tried to fit in her good graces in that first season.
Yes, he
And I
did.
think he realized if this show's gonna have any legs, this ain't me. You know what I
Mm-mm.
mean? Like I'm more like them on that side of the room than like her. And I can't, I'm gonna go back on that side.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah.
more entertaining over there. This
Go on the
side's
fun
just not,
side, of course.
yeah, it's just not that fun over here.
No.
Um, and then we get to, Reza and Mike. Mike's tanked.
Oh my
I could
gosh.
tell when he
First
showed
off,
up.
I just want to say I thought your wife looked so hot at this
Oh
point,
yeah,
too,
man, the
by the
tits
way.
look gigantic, right? What
Yes.
the fuck is that?
She looked hot.
Oh, yeah,
But
she looks
yeah,
great.
when Mike walked in, he was a mess.
Yeah.
A mess.
Yeah. I don't, I don't know because I see it. I don't know if everybody can see it, but if you know Mike, not to say I haven't hung out with the Mike a lot
Yeah.
outside of filming, but you could tell when Mike's tanked. You could tell. There's a
Yeah.
look to his face he gets. And he came walking in. I was like, oh, this guy, before he said it, because you couldn't tell right away until he
Yeah.
started yelling. I was like, oh, shit, I think Mike's drunk when he got out of the car. I was like, I think he's hammered. And
Well,
then
then
he
he even
was.
says he's like, I'm not embarrassed to admit that I had a few drinks. I was like, I think you got more than a few
Yeah,
drinks. Like
yeah, for sure. For
that was a
sure.
lot.
For sure. And
Oh,
yeah,
and then
like
when
I
you're
said, Asa's saying that I feel like, the little problem is small and then they turn it into a big problem is, every person that I've ever met in my life. Um, the going to
blowing
Turkey,
everything up.
the going to Turkey,
Yeah.
Asa, that's production, dude. It's got nothing to do with
They
her.
have to have a good trip,
Yeah,
cash
they're
trip.
going
Hmm.
somewhere. It's a cash trip. It
Yeah.
has nothing to do with her. She's not inviting anybody to fucking Turkey. That's why
Yeah.
Mike's also kind of like, whatever. You know what I mean? It's not
Yeah.
like he's not being rude to her. He right now might not, he's fucking drunk. He might not want to go to
He's
Turkey in
drunk.
his mind, but you can't get your
Yeah.
check unless you go.
Well, and
Um,
then he just got done fighting with Reza. So it's like in that moment to say, like, do I want to be around these people and go through
Yeah,
all
and,
that?
and
So
I'm
I could see
sorry.
that.
Listen, there's no more loyal person than me. Like I've said, I'm fucking Al Cowlings driving OJ to Mexico. Let's see if we get you out of here, buddy. You know, but I don't think Mike was wrong in that instance. You know what
No.
I'm saying? Like I don't think like with what Reza did in that nightclub when he blowing the guy up, and they were all kind of chit chatting, and then to leave when my wife already left. It
Yes.
wasn't like oh, you have one person go with you, dude. Whatever, dude. There's no reason for you to talk crazy like that.
Yeah.
And coming from Reza, like Gigi, in my mind, could say that type of shit because Gigi is more down for any of the castmates or like, even if my wife and her are fighting, if you came up and said some shit to my wife, she would have a problem with you.
She's loyal. You could
You know what
tell.
I'm
Yeah.
saying? It's like
Yeah.
she's down, like with Paulina when like stopped, like she had Mike's back. She
She
always has had
did.
Mike's back, so I can take that from her. But Reza blows up on everybody. Like for him to be like you betrayed me because you didn't, you chose that side over my side. It's like you do that all the time. Anytime you're in an argument, it's like you have better be on my side or not their side. That has nothing to do
Has
with
nothing to do with it.
that
Yeah.
situation. That's just how he is.
And Mike has the right to feel how he felt too in that situation, how Reza acted at the club. So he has a right to speak his mind and feel what he felt, and he still can be friends with him.
For
It's
sure.
it's not one way or the other, you know?
And Reza can't go then and sit down with that guy Sasha and apologize for the way he treated him and still
Mhm.
be mad at Mike.
Makes
You
no
know what I
sense.
mean? That
Mike's
makes no
one of your best
sense.
friends, and you're still mad at him.
Yeah, no, you were wrong enough to that you knew that you had to go sit down with this quote unquote complete stranger to
Yeah.
apologize. Then why are you mad that Mike was sticking up for the person? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
what's there's nothing wrong with that. But I also think that they were, they weren't at a place to have a conversation. Mike was already drunk,
Oh, it's the
so
worst.
it
I mean, it
wasn't like
makes good TV, but it's the worst because it's not going to go anywhere.
yeah. And then they just talk bigger and,
Uh-huh.
crazier. You're betraying me. I never want to see you again. And like, they're crying. It's so
Nonsense.
over the top. It's so over the
And
top. But
then
that's, like you said, that's why they're good on TV.
that's why it is. But I didn't understand why Reza went on the microphone either with the DJ
To
calling
blow
them
them
out. I
up,
didn't understand. Yeah, to
to blow
understand
them
that
up,
part of
make it
it.
worse, make it worse.
And then
Reza's
all of a sudden, we're
always,
supposed to be happy and go to Turkey together. It's like
yeah, it's craziness.
right after
Reza's
that.
always looking to turn it up a notch, because of the
Yes.
show. And, I think that Mike Rez is right in what he's talking about a little bit on the show at this moment where he's like, Mike is, I can't remember the term they use, but like he's, self-destructing or whatever, like some
Yeah.
crazy over the top thing. But I get it because what, like you said, he doesn't really have a job. He's trying to buy this girl this crazy expensive ring. All he talks about, even to the mother, I want the ring so that I could say fuck you to everybody because he has this thing in his mind that everybody's like pointing at him and laughing
Yeah.
when he can't when he leaves a room. That's no, you're not that important, dude. You know what I mean? People don't
Yeah.
care that much. And until he can remove that, I don't think he's ever going to really have, you know, the best life. You know what I mean?
He's not because I feel like he puts so much pressure on himself. I mean, I know he has his faults and everything, but I do feel like with his brothers being successful, he says it several times. He's trying to find his way. And then with Jessica, he's trying to get her the biggest ring. He's trying to do all this stuff, and I just feel like he's just a little lost.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you kind of feel bad for him a little bit in this
And his
instance,
mom
anyway.
said, like, his mom will say the thing that will shoot him right in the middle of the eyes, dude. Like
Yeah,
it's like very true. It's like, oh wow. So she sees it, and that's got to be more difficult when your mother sees you the way that you really are compared to what you keep presenting to the world.
well, she knows you. That's your mom. She
Yeah,
knows you in and out and how
yeah.
you are.
But there's nobody on this planet he'd rather impress more, I think,
Oh
than
yeah,
his
than his
mom.
mom for
Not his
sure.
dad, not Jessica, not his brothers, or any of the other women that, like, whoever it is, it's always about his mom first. And I think that she sees a lot of his weaknesses, and she
Yeah,
doesn't really pull punches on him.
and that's why she wants to. And he even said it, I think, when Jessica was cooking and everything, how like, oh, she's got to impress my mom. This will mean so much to my mom. It's like he keeps pushing that scenario of
And I
impressing
think
the
that's
mom.
where that narrative came to me.
Yeah,
Again, I never saw these episodes, but if you see, there's certain through lines that I'm aware of just because I lived in this world. You know
of
what I
course.
mean?
Yeah.
And it's like I was always under the impression that not that his mom was a bitch, but that she was bitchy towards Jessica, and that like Jessica really had to go out of her way to prove that she loved Mike and prove that she was worthy of Mike because of the mother. And the mom ain't done shit. Mike
I don't
keeps
think so
saying it
either.
about her. You know what I mean? Mike keeps putting it on her, but that's not her. It's Mike.
I think that's Mike. He's using his mom as that buffer to
Yeah,
like
I think he's
keep that
hoping that
wall
she
up.
would be a little bit bitchier because right now
Yeah. He's like,
it's
wait,
like,
are you sure you're okay with her not being virgin? Are you
yeah,
sure?
yeah,
Yeah. I'm not ready to buy that ring yet. Wait, hold on.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. But listen, Lisa, this was great. I hope to have you back
Thank
and do another
you.
one of these. This
For
was a lot of
sure.
fun. I hope you had a good time.
I did. Thank you.
You were great. You definitely know your Shahs too. So
Yay.
we could do this again,
Oh,
and
yes,
I
for
will see
sure.
you soon.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye. Have a great night.
You too.